Hello and welcome. We're finally back. Let's start and get right into everything that I've learned. So I'm using a controller and I couldn't be more happy. The first thing that you'll notice is a big visual upgrade. I did some modifications to the character itself. I love the camouflage and I love how this character looks and feels, right? So here is the character, and I couldn't ask for anything better. Right here, character looks pretty cool, exactly the look and the vibe that I want, and the environment. So look at this environment right here is a lot different upgrade than my last one, and I'm using Scan Factory's Urban District, okay? And coming into UE 5.1 for my setup, it wasn't plug and play. I'll get into the gory details on the second playthrough, but with this first playthrough, I just want to kind of have fun because the game is actually fun to play. So when Call of Duty takes Warzone out, I just get right into programming and just discovering new things, and I'm having a good time playing. On the second playthrough, I'm gonna get into the gory details about everything that happened and all of the tech. I'll touch on some of the tech here, but not that much. Okay, so update since last time, bringing in and using a big environment just like Scan Factory's Urban District was new to me. How to bring it in, how to incorporate it with the third-person shooter kit, etc., etc. And I know the shooting is off right now. That's just because I'm still in that viewport mode. It won't be like that with the standalone game. Okay, and then in the bottom right, that kill counter, learning how to implement that kill counter. And shout out to Matty H in the third-person community. They really helped me out and helped me figure that out. And that brings a lot of functionality. Okay, another thing that is new here, you've seen the chaos system, but I can damage this with bullets, and I'll get into gory details and show that because I couldn't do that before. Okay, so I'm real excited about working with that, and Solo Ken over in the third-person community helped me out with that, and that was amazing. So there's some other things that I figured out, and we're going to touch on this, but look at this level and let me know if Warzone was like this. Was this something that you would enjoy? And see, look, the kill count goes up. I really thought that was going to be easy. And you see that functionality is standard in all games. You kill somebody, you see your stats. Well, it wasn't as intuitive as I thought. It wasn't that difficult either, but I'm still kind of learning that concept. Okay, I'll deal with that character a little bit later. But we're just going to have fun right here. I'm still 100 out of 100. We're kind of going to just look through this map and just look how detailed it is, and we'll see how I modified it a little bit and how I'll be able to modify it in the future for what I want to do. And it's going to take a while. Okay, so the next thing that I did, you see gun locker. I like how the words are kind of inside of the environment there behind the truck. And before, no matter how far away you were from a label or how close, it would stay. So here, I kind of been able to figure out, hey, once I get close, we know it's the gun locker, we take it away. Okay, so I really like that. We'll get into some of the details about that. All right, just put an ammo pickup here. We got a door. We've seen that. I need to make the E key on my keyboard that I just pressed. I need to assign a controller button to that. Okay, so that door, I was able to bring that in and just keep practicing everything that I wanted to learn. Okay, now that type of sliding door was the answer that I had to this. Okay, for a regular door. Okay, a regular door, remember, it opens up outwards, and then I was like, well, if you're on this side and you open and close the door, right? I didn't want it to open inward. So now I got that figured out, and I'll have a whole nother video about that because that takes a little while to talk about. But I had that door functioning almost how I wanted. It's some glitches in it, but I learned that it's a huge algorithm for that, and we'll get into that. And I want you guys to get in the comments below and let me know if you agree with the strategy of what I did in the coding philosophy in the algorithm of what I did to get the functionality of that door, and if it's something easier I can do. Again, I'll get to that on the second playthrough. Okay, so let's go through here and let's take care of this one character right here. All right, we got a cover system right here. I love this blind fire. Can't use up all my bullets. I'm missing. Oh, he's reloading. Get him while he's reloading. Look at those shells. Look at all of those shells. I know in a multiplayer game with replication, I won't be able to have all those shells laying out there. Already know. All right, so, okay. All right, you know I gotta have my explosive barrels. And like I said before, I can shoot. I'm gonna show you all. Let me see. Let me get get something from this gun locker right here. See, we got a grenade launcher. Pick that up. Let's go get a refill of ammo. All right, and then I'm gonna shoot this. Shoot it from the other side. I hadn't seen how it affects. All right, so you see how it damaged the statue only like where I shot it? That's exactly what I wanted to happen, and it's the way that I've configured my fracture. So we'll get into that, and I'll make it look even a little bit more realistic. But look at those. look at that debris just go everywhere. You gotta love that. I love that. All right, so all right, moving right along. Let's keep going. Make sure that I blow up all those explosive barrels. It's like another. Better not waste all my bullets because we got even more enemies. We got a kill count of 3 right now. All right, so now this block right here, you see how the AI is shooting it and just not going through. I got some assets from Quixel Bridge, and whenever the enemy would shoot, it would go right through it. So I had to use some other assets from packs that I bought from the marketplace, and I need to figure out. And if you all know, look at him, he's confused. He hadn't seen me for a while. Let me know if you understand why the content that I got from Quixel Bridge, the enemies were able to shoot through it even though they had collision on it. I don't know. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay, look at that blind fire. I love that. Let me know if you guys like the look and the feel, and how would this would be fun if this was like third person type of multiplayer experience. Let me know if you guys think that you would enjoy it. But whenever I'm playing with a controller, that's where I really see the potential of something like this. And look how detailed it is. And it's a lot of things that I can modify. And one thing that I'm gonna get in on the second playthrough is if I want to have this replicated for a multiplayer game, I got the news that you're not going to be able to just use this as it is. I mean, you're going to have to do a lot when it comes down to replicating everything for a multiplayer experience, and I'll get a little bit more into that on the second playthrough. Just messing with different type of enemies right there. I didn't have that enemy specifically in the kill count system. Maybe that's something that I'll add, and I'll test that out next. Just messing around with this ladder system, put this up here, but it feels really good with the controller. I mean, I definitely didn't think I would have something. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Look at that, took that damage. Look at that fall damage of just 9. I don't even think I'm gonna, let me try this again. But like I was saying, I didn't think I was gonna be able to have a game that I was gonna be able to make that was actually fun to play. Okay, here we go. We made this one. All right, so we have enemies coming up here. I can't touch. Really. There we go. We got a headshot. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna take regular. All right, and then see that's the kill count of 6, and then that's all the enemies that I have. So we'll just look around here, change weapons, etc. Man, I mean, I'll say the third person kit is pretty sick. I wish I could kind of like use this in a multiplayer environment. We'll talk about maybe why not. But look, it has a flashlight on that gun. I'm gonna have to learn all of this stuff. But for a single player game, I'll be able to use this third person kit, and I'll essentially do that, just that. And I'll expand upon this. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I learned new, taking baby steps. But it took a lot to get there. Okay, so now, and we'll get into some. Now, this is the second mode, so that's everything new for like the end user experience. But if you want to continue watching the video and we'll start talking some more dev technical stuff, that's what I'll get into. And this will be where some of the UE dev types will like this. So let's start this again, and I'll start with telling you all of the problems that I had. So initially, when I first got the urban districts, Scan Factory's urban district, the first problem that I had here was my character kept falling through the ground. Okay, and so my player start right here, I ended up having to put that up high above the ground. And then not only that, and I looked into it, it's because if you have an uneven surface, this surface is dynamic. I can move it up and down, and it can change very dynamic, and it allows you just to have a complete modification of this environment. So when that happens, the collisions act kind of funny on the startup. So once I drag the capsule higher, and then also down here up under spawn collision handling method, I changed that to try to adjust location, don't spawn if still colliding. Once I did that, it was 100 out of 100. I wouldn't have any problems. Okay, so again, I put the cover system on a lot of things, as you can see right here. And if it was the way that I want cover system everywhere. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. Might just have to take my time. And this right here is the mesh, that the first one that I applied the fracture to, and I learned how to use the anchor field. And so this doesn't crumble as soon as you start, because if you have an anchor field and it's associated with a certain mesh, it'll protect it from crumbling. Okay. Now, what else did I learn? I also learned about, this is the master field up here, and the master field allows me to actually apply force to my projectiles. And I had to learn to go to projectiles right here and add the force and bring in this FS master field inside of the spawn actor FS master field. So you spawn it, you add a custom event, and then on your projectile, you add that custom event, but then you get the actor transform and plug it in. And from there, I can go and just manipulate all of my different values that I have for the fracture to control how it crumbles, where it crumbles, and when it crumbles. So, okay, now I'll briefly touch on some other things right here. And let's look. And I'm going to shoot this. And this one doesn't work as good as some of the others. But see, I can shoot it apart. And I'll put more damage on that. Look at that. I love that chaos system. I'll put more damage on the statues to make it make more sense. But that was fun. Okay, so next I'll touch a little bit about this door logic right here. So if I look at what I did for the door, all of this code right here just to open and close the door, right? And so if I go into the viewport, the thing that you'll see is I have 2 box collisions to indicate when your character walks on either side of the door. And that's what you see here. Pretty much both sets of code represents one of those box collisions. So based upon where the door is located, its position, is it closed, is it open inward, or is it open outward? I'm gonna close or open the door, as desired. So if it's open, then you know you want to close it, but you need to determine, is it open inward to you or is it open outward? And the goal here is I always want to be able to open, when I open the door, I don't want it to open inward to me. I always want it to open outward, just like they function on Call of Duty. So that's exactly what I've done here. For every time that you get the player controller, whenever they overlap a box collision, then I want to evaluate where the door is at. So I get the Z value, and from there I look at, hey, if it's inside of a range, I'm saying that's closed. So open the door outward, because I understand what box collision that I'm in. You also have to evaluate if the door is already open outward, and if you want to close it, or if it's open inward, do you want to close it? And that's what these two branches go through and evaluate. And I do that evaluation for both sides. And the only thing that was really interesting was I created a race condition because I didn't have this overlapping actor. If it's true, if you don't have this branch right here with this condition, okay, at that point, you have two conditions that are trying to compete at the same time for both sides, because it's going to enable it if you go into either box. And so I had to add that, and then that race condition was gone. So that's enough about the door. I'll have a separate video just on that, but that was pretty fun to figure out. And let's see, another thing that I want to discuss really quickly. It was pretty straightforward about this whole gun locker. This is just a box collision on a blueprint with a text in it. And then so if you enter in that box collision, then you unhide that text, and then if you go outside of it, it's hidden. Okay. Another thing that was very, I wouldn't say that challenging, but this door wasn't straightforward either, because it's not on just a straight grid or a flat surface. Whenever I would make a map and put a door, it would always just slide 90 degrees. Well, this door actually didn't start at 90 degrees, or 0 degrees, I should say. This specific door, I had to start at 40 degrees, right? So if I went into the viewport, as you can see right here, the starting position of this door was at 40. Okay, so I was going into the timeline, and initially I was putting in 0 to 90, and it was giving me all type of weird behavior. So that was the only thing that I had to figure out about that. Okay. And of course, you had a lot of code that was centered around getting the kill count. The kill count was actually applied to whenever your enemy AI dies. And again, I mean, shout out to Matty H for helping me figure out how to count. He has a tutorial on this, and I'll link that in that description below. But whenever essentially the AI dies, we sit there and we count it, and then we add it to the game HUD, and it's a lot of details around that. So that was very fun to figure out. And then also shout out to people like Brick Sanity, Hamster, PL, Paper Tank, Racer for Life. They always help me out. They're over there in the third person community. So thankful for that. So just lastly, in closing, I'll just do a quick little playthrough of this. And it's just fun actually playing this and seeing just the potential. And again, I'm very new with Unreal development, learning just a little bit more, and I'll keep everyone up to date again with everything that I'm doing in the future with the game and what I'm going to have to do to make this a multiplayer game. Because to make this a multiplayer game, I'm going to have to understand a concept called replication, right? So replication is making sure that everybody in the environment, look at that, man, making sure that everybody that's in the game sees the same thing, so it's replicated for everyone. And all of these little damaged pieces and particles and things to that nature is going to be hard to replicate. Even all of the animations, which is called locomotion between the characters, making them move smooth. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. Supposedly that's pretty challenging, but we're up for the challenge over here and we'll figure it out. So get in the comments below and let me know if you like this theme and this vibe for a third-person battle royale. If you have any questions about what you see here or anything that you want to correct me on, because I don't know everything. I could have said something wrong, or I could have done something better. So right now, yeah, I'm having a good time just playing the game. And that's another thing. I was like, look, you got to get to coding instead of just playing the game, because I could just keep going on and on. So get in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.